welcome to the part 2 of the Gone Wild Big and Dirty Fish Room Tour, where I'm showing you my fish room like nobody else will really show you, where Mother Nature has kind of taken over and there's no filters and a lot of crazy things going on within this aquarium. And welcome all to the age of Aquarius. So what better way to bring in the age of Aquarius with showing a house full of aquariums. So if you guys missed it, part 1, we covered that area a bit, and we also covered in that whole section. We do have an upstairs section and an outdoor section, but right now we're going to cover this section. This is the garage section, and unfortunately I can't get to your guys's, I know this is a live stream, but I can't get to all your guys's questions right now because last time it took us 2 hours to get through just that other section. So we're just gonna run and gun and get into things. And here's what I got all my Corey rack, because Corey from Aquarium Co-op actually showed me how to build this. Well, 2x4s and cinder blocks. Really easy build if you don't know how to construct custom stands, if you're not very handy with carpentry or saws, which this is more intimidating than really what it is. It's just cutting and screwing things together and making sure that you got support in the right places, because this is actually a stand that has 125 long, 125 long, and 240s, and that's all wood too. As you can see, I doubled it up there. But with this, it's just it's kind of like putting Legos together. You got cinder blocks and 2x4s. So you can see I went 1 2 3 2x4s, 1 2 3 4 2x4s. Now if I would have added a 4th there, I would have had better room for here. But this will eventually end up coming out. I'll end up redoing all this. I'll probably end up going back against this wall. That way it opens up all that space and I can actually go lengthways wise down this wall. So let's go ahead and get into these tanks. I guess we'll start with another tank like we did last time with a tree growing out of it. Which technically this isn't a tree, it's angustifolia, hygrophilia angustifolia. You can see where it's flowering there, nice beautiful purple flowers. Really neat, kind of reminds me of a mini iris. And then we got Brazilian Pennywort mixed in with it, growing real well. We got a Anubius there. This is 75 gallon like I mentioned before. This actually has African cichlid mixed in it. Really good tank for extra mineralization, even with my softer water, because it'll break down that mix over time and then add minerals for the plants. This holy rock actually used to be a lot bigger, but the acidity of the water has actually been wearing it down. It's kind of wild, but it's filled with rainbow fish. Absolutely filled with rainbow fish, and then some Taiwan moss is growing less compact, and I think it's just due to lack of light from all the plant material growing from up above. It's sort of created a marsh above it. And it's one of my very few wood grain tanks. I don't have many of those. Then up here we have another 75 gallon, ton of subwasser tang at the bottom, ton of it, but it's always been riddled with algae. I know it's kind of hard to see with the glare, but you can see where the algae is actually dying off. See that reddish color? All that is starting to die off. A big reason why is because this pearlweed has taken over this biomass. This pearlweed has been sucking up all the excess nutrients that the guppy or that the algae would otherwise eat. That, and it's getting less light on that algae as well. See where it's in the light, it's a little healthier, but it's still turning white, that algae, but it is dying. So I can grow this subwasser tang up and through that if I feed my plants properly. And if I did some water changes, that would help a lot too. Well, we've got cherry barbs in there, we've got rainbows in there. The plant over on this side, that is the Luigia arcuata. They are skittish today. I don't know why they're so camera shy. It's funny because whenever I come up to them normally, they'll be begging for food. But once I break out that camera, it's a whole different sensation. It's like they think I was just holding them up or something. And over in here, I've got a little 5-gallon where I use Tanner's substrate of Serpent Design. It has sphagnum moss and some coconut fibers and other stuff in it. Give more of that soft water fill. And also, since these guys are egg scatters, this is a great kind of texture to get for egg scatters, especially if you're playing the musical fish technique. So if you were to just let these be in here for a while, hope they throw some eggs and then move them over to another tank, that's what you want. A lot of coverage, little rock pebbles eggs can get into, sphagnum moss, all that. This is actually one of those sponges like I was talking about in part 1, where I'd let the black worms collect up into there, and then I'd transfer it to another tank to seed with black worms. So this tank is now seeded with black worms, which is absolutely perfect sort of diet for those rummy nose. And you see how happy and healthy they are. I've had them for quite some time. And then Anubius in the back and Subwasser Tang. But thank you so much, Peplin Aquatics, for the super chat, throwing down a $3 super chat. Here I've got a couple baby threadfin rainbow fish. Let me try to get over on this side. Probably help if I get a flashlight too. Soup. Let me see if that helps. It's really hard with the glare of this. But in there are some itty bitty tiny threadfin rainbow fish babies. There's actually a couple CPDs in there too. Not a whole lot going on in this tank, as you can see, not much for plants. But I did seed it with some pearlweed that is starting to do its thing, so over time it'll just become a mat of pearlweed. I still just haven't decided what to put down at the bottom. Since I have hundreds of tanks, I can keep hundreds and hundreds of types of plants, but after a while, just dealing with them and organizing them all becomes a big pain. So, got a nice little substrate of algae in there. And in here is a bunch of green water. Doesn't look like much. Absolute ton of seed shrimp. Get it to focus here. Focus, focus. There it goes. See all the seed shrimp. There's Daphne in there. You can see it flying around, but there actually used to be Congo Tetras in here just a couple days ago. And they were breeding in there like crazy. You didn't see any of these out and about, because I guess the Congo Tetras just keep them at bay. But now that the Congo Tetras are out, the Daphne has gone crazy. So I'm hoping that the Congo Tetras have laid some eggs back there. They're definitely in the spawning mood. I watched them very frequently. They're actually down here. We'll see them hopefully here in a bit. And in here are some baby dwarf neon rainbow fish. Bunch of Heuteroi Crypt, which these are ones I did not move out quick enough, and they still need to be pulled. I've been pulling dwarf neons out of here forever. And then it's got Heuteroi Crypt. These are 20-gallon hives. See, it doesn't look like much from the front, but you can see that there's actually a bunch of plants within the sides of them. Same with that tank in the middle. Italia, Colorado. Dwarf Sag. Up top. More rainbows. And then down here, this is what I call my 3x20 rack too. They're all 20 highs. I don't know if I mentioned that. But here I've got some gold Medecas. You see a couple of that one's a younger one. There's also lamp eye killifish in here, the Norman eye lamp eye killifish. And there's actually Pogostemon, or I think it is, it's the, what is it? Oh, dang it, I'm having a brain fart. If anybody knows what this plant is, I don't know why I can't think of it right now. Octopus something? I can't remember. But anyways, there's those Norman eyes in there. There's the gold Medecas. And here I've got the Taiwan Moss. That is, or no, this is, I think this is the Java Moss. Then the Congo Tetras. You see them back there. They're getting a little wily. If it's not feeding time, this is kind of breed time. Now, I think that is a baby Congo Tetra right there too, because I did have a pair in here for quite some time. And I do think they did colony breed an itty bitty baby. Where'd he go? He blends in so well. There he is. So I did have a pair kind of colony breed in here, but you can see how much coverage is left for them to breed into. They're being real skittish. Now there's a group. There's 2 males and I believe 3 females. I'll have to split them up again here soon. Then here I've got the Crypt Heuteroi. Really neat Crypt with all the bullated leaves causing all that dimpling. Little baby albino galaxy guppy. Couple of them. I don't know where the parents are. There are some parents in here. They've been slow breeding for some reason. Where in the world are the parents? I saw them yesterday. They must be hiding well. Weird for them to hide. Huh. I see the babies, but I don't see the parents. Anyway, down here I've got the white cross Endlers. Oh, Pogostemon stellatus. That's what I was thinking. Or is it octopus? I don't know. I can't remember. These are the white cross Endlers. Really hard to... There we go. Get some light on them. Without that light, it just looks like orange. You see the light, you get a lot of that green, you get that white on them, a little bit of purple in there. Females are getting really big though. Like I mentioned in the first part 1, you gotta watch out for those big females. They tend to get hungry on the males. And you'll end up with more females than males. That's a nice specimen here. I recently moved these guys over trying to breed out another colony of them. Just to keep the blood and the genes nice. Pogostellatus variation octopus, yes. I believe that's right. Thank you so much. And that's more of that plant. And you see that Brazilian Pennywort over there that's actually coming down and into here? That's coming from this stand over there. So it's grown all the way down and reached into here. Like that stuff just takes over. It's absolutely wild. And then there's also cherry barbs in here. I have some nice pairs of cherry barbs in here. I was hoping to see what they would do together. I haven't seen much from the cherry barbs by themselves either way, so I just figured I'd throw them together. And then nothing in here. That's actually empty and waiting for fish to breed. Now, this is winter time, so the concrete gets a little cool. I'm in Indiana. We get really cold winters, so I do use a radiator heater, which I kind of push it to the max because, I mean, this is a big space for that radiator heater. But this is nice to have if you don't want to have something like this for your garage. You can always use one of your tanks. Say if I were to put a couple heaters into this, which I would probably use like 2 500-watt heaters. That way each one's not pulling real hard for the other one, and it would mediate that temperature a lot better without straining the equipment. But essentially what will happen when you're doing that is you'll turn that tank into a space radiator heater. So I run this one about 80 degrees for that space radiator, which gives it an ambient temperature of around 76 for me. So if I were to do that with this tank, granted I would have higher humidity from doing it that way, but I could turn that into a radiator heater and put it up to 80 degrees, which most of those fish would be fine with, and be able to help heat my garage with that. I actually used to have a 240 gallon over here where I actually used to do that. So I did last winter, and it was hot and humid in here all year round. All right, so here, this was all supposed to be rainbow fish, but you know how it gets. You gotta throw things into tanks when you have so much collectoritis. Here I've got a ton of that tiger vow. So here's what the tiger vow looks like when it gets really huge and grown out. And you can get that red in it too, all striped. And then this is also a tank just full of fire red shrimp. Tons of very, very beautiful fire red shrimp. Front view, you can see it's matted. It's completely full matted. And I believe the cherry shrimp are the only thing in here besides snails. And then looks like there's some hydrocaudal back there too. Bunch more shrimp. And here is what I really love this plant. Now, if I could remember what the name of it is. I've never actually seen it grow out of the water. This is kind of a first for me. This is one of the plants I can't really sell. Oh, it's Lymphnophilia sessiflora. So it's one of those plants that is illegal in a couple states, and so I don't offer it for sale. Just because it will grow crazy, but it is an amazing plant for spawning and egg scatterers, especially rainbow fish. I got a little microsort in there too. You can see how it grows all bushy. Looks like there's other plants in there, maybe some other types of Rotalia. Not sure exactly what kind of Rotalia that is. There is a pair of rainbows in there. Not a root twos. I'm thinking maybe Amorite or Upper Tour, but we're not going to be able to see them because, I mean, all that plant foliage and the green water. And here I've got a bunch of swordtails. How do you find out what's illegal in your state? You go to noxious plants. On the government sites, they'll show it. This is Taiwan Lily here I've got growing on back. And this is the way that Taiwan Lily will propagate. So I'll throw these shoots up like that, and then this will actually start becoming a plant, the leaves will. So once it hits the top, all these off the top will turn into plantlets, which can get bigger and bigger and bigger. So there's a big plantlet right here. All the roots, that's just grown off top. There's a ton of them. There's another one. And then you've got pearlweed all mixed in between it. These guys are breeding like crazy. Tons of little babies. And then in here, thank you so much, Xanadu, for the super chat. Xanadu throwing down a $10 super chat. It says, planting 2 40-gallon breeders and 420 longs while listening. Thanks for everything you do. P.S. You're not shipping this week, are you? Merry everything fishy folks. Well, thank you for the support. And that sounds awesome. Sounds like you're having a lot of fun over there. And no, we are not shipping this week. Being the holidays and everything is not worth the risk for the fish and or shrimp or plants. So we won't be shipping this week, but we'll definitely have it out the week after. I think it should turn out all right as far as holidays. Haven't looked at the calendar really, but thank you for the support. And here we've got a group of Amorite rainbow fish and a bronze crypt back there, which that bronze crypt is actually growing in a deli cup. So it's kind of potted in one of those deli cups. So if I ever wanted to remove that bunch and put it elsewhere, it'd be really easy to do. And its leaves right now are looking amazing. A lot of red on them. Then you see some here that have calcium buildup on them. So these are all old leaf growth that either was up near the surface and the calcium stuck to it and nothing was kicking the debris off, so it kind of hardened and formed there, which that stuff can die off or you can pick it out. And more pearlweed, more glare, more Taiwan Lily. I'll zoom out, that'd help too. But yeah, I'm really digging that tank. I like how you see the green here. It's just like a forest of green, and then back in the back is like this really nice red crib. But look at this monster female guppy. She is huge. So those are good sized males. Those are decent sized males, but she is just a monster. Absolute monster. Kevin Long, thank you so much for the $5 Super Chat says, just built a rack for 3 10-gallon tanks and going to stain it in a few days. Can't wait to purchase 40 Neos from you. That'll be awesome. Really appreciate it and the support. And yeah, sounds like you're having a lot of fun too over there. I kind of enjoy building stands time to time. It's nicer when the weather's nice, but even building stands and just working with your hands, getting out and all that stuff, life is what you make it. These are the Dalmatian Guppies, really neat. These came from the IFGA, the International Fancy Guppy Association. And then this is, I believe that's regular Vallisneria. That's regular Vallisneria in there. And then this is kind of weird. This I haven't maintained for a while. It's got a lot of beautiful orange shrimp in it. But with this Brightwell, I don't know if it's a Brightwell substrate or what caused it. But I had what seemed like to be a diatoms dusting over on the front tank of the glass. I tried to scrape it off. You can kind of see it there. But I tried to scrape it off. This stuff was harder to scrape. Like diatoms usually scrapes right off. I've never really had a whole lot of problems scraping any like soft film off of a tank, but for some reason this one is giving me a lot of troubles. Really weird. Haven't figured that one out yet, but ton of rock piles. The Brazilian Pennywort underneath there, which is hardly any light. Bunch of Val, so that Val will grow up underneath dang near no light. And here I've got the Dwarf Sedge, baby rainbow fish, Brazilian pennyworts, and sandwood. There's also a bunch of orange shrimp in there as well. Brazilian pennywort flowering, reaching over. That stuff loves to jump tank to tank. All right, and then in here we got Shellies, the shell dwellers. They're kind of hard to see right now because their water has gone green. Let me see if I can see them from the side. Let me take this down. I was trying to schedule my water changes, but let's see, you can see there's one kind of back there. There's quite a few in here still. They're all hiding, being Shellies. There are babies in there. I've got Anubius in there with them. Real nice Anubius. And then right next to them, I've got more Shellies as well. Super green water, but they're with the bronze Crypt. Now, I'm not really sure why these have gone green recently. I just don't think I have enough plants in them. If I get enough plants in there, or maybe a faster grower, I could help suck out all those nutrients. But yeah, green water tanks, can't really see much in there. Here we got a Pseudomugil illuminatus. We've got black neon tetras back here too. Red cherry barbs, which that real bright one's the male. The female will be a lighter color, not quite as red. And then we've got the bronze Crypt, Anubius, Moss. This is actually Golden Nessia, which is not usually known as a low-tech grower, but it can actually be grown low-tech. And then Luigi arcuata, got some algae trying to take over there. It's because it's not trimmed up well. Then in here we've got, what do I have in here? I think these are red Waponga lasers. The Melanitania rubivatata rainbow fish. They're kind of like the dwarf neons, but a little different. And then in here we have the dwarf neons. Which this is my main breeding group right here. If I can get that glare off, that's the hardest part about a fish room. There we go. So you see the males here, that's the female. The males will have those red fins, the females will have more of the yellow-orange fins. So there's 2 pair in there. And a more Crypt growing underneath next to no light. And a absolute ridiculous amount of pearlweed in here. And within all this pearlweed, I don't know if we'll be able to see any right now, but there are baby rainbow fish throughout that. Oh yeah, tiny itty bitty baby. It's really hard to see. See them moving around? There's another itty bitty baby over there moving around. Bunch of tiny little babies. Over the same kind of story. Bunch of pearlweed, but this is actually growing up in more of a immersed form. See the thicker leaves? See where it's just kind of crescent over here. So once it does finally work its way out, it'll start growing differently. It's really neat. Now if I wanted to get real snazzy with this, I could like pluck little plants and stems in there, grow other things out of it, which is always fun. Then in here, where's my flashlight? Are some more amari. Man, she looks kind of funny. Why is her belly all swollen? I know I feed them well, but not that well. But there's a nice male amari. This is a breeding group of them. There was some Dulphoid cories in here as well. But this needs a complete overhaul. Let me see more back there. Maybe. Oh well, that glare. And then over here we've got Cali rum. Melanitania Cali rum. Really neat fish. A lot of the Philippine fern up underneath the Potamagitan Gaia. Which this actually may be a different plant than that. Gaia, if I just can't remember what. Because I've got a lot of different plants from all over the place. But there's tons and tons of babies in there. See the little baby? They're all over the place. Tiny little, even tinier babies. Itty bitty in betweens. But all throughout there is a bunch of babies. So if I were to just get these guys out, which would be a feat within itself, or I could just scoop the babies out. There's a couple ways to do it. But I'm gonna end up resetting all this stuff. That's why I wanted to make this video for you guys, because this is not gonna be like this that much longer, because I've got to be able to utilize these a little better. Then in here is a black and silver line of guppy. Never really did that well for me, so they just kind of hang out. Looks like this one's getting picked on. See how it's got its white fins there? More than likely it's getting picked on. Then we've got weeping moss actually. See how it's trying to curl over. This stuff can be tricky because it does try to curl over itself. And we got hornwort as well. And then here we've got a bunch of guppy grass. Ton of guppy grass in both these tanks. This has the Santa Maria Endler, which there was one in the front, but it's gone now. The thread fins are in there, the threadfin rainbow fish back there. But the Santa Maria Endler is really neat. It's got a nice orange body to it. Here we've got some dwarf neon rainbow fish that are grown out. And then a ton of orange shrimp just littered out throughout the guppy grass. Just hanging out, waiting for that food. See them at the bottom too. And I worked on those oranges forever. So they're looking pretty nice. You guys know my shrimp. You guys know I do my shrimp right. And it took me years before I even offered them to you guys. But here are some more dwarf neon rainbow fish. A lot of nice big chunky males there. Those are beautiful. Then we got Taiwan Lily growing up on the top, prospering, as well as what looks like pilo moss up underneath it. Here, Fishy Fishy, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Here, Fishy Fishy. And then more dwarf neon rainbows. Love my dwarf neon rainbows. This the fish I've bred more out of any other fish. I have bred a ton of dwarf neon rainbow fish, which you can actually breed out a xanthic form of these where they're golden. It's really neat. The problem is I could never get the xanthic forms to breed together. I just think they usually end up infertile. And then we got a random, what is this? A Chopre Daniel. I love the Chopre Daniels. And then it's got another plant, I don't know. I think this is a type of a Punta Geeton. I can't remember exactly which ones which one. And then we've got Upper Tor Rainbow, the Chilnothernia Upper Tor River Rainbow species. I don't want to spook them too much into that algae because rainbows aren't the brightest when they get spooked. And they could end up trapping themselves in that hair algae, which I need to get that out before it does become a problem. And then a ton of red metallic Crypt. And when it comes to cleaning this out, like essentially all I'm going to do is scoop that up out of there. So I'll get my fingers up into that Crypt, kind of detach the algae from the bottom, and then I'll just pull all that algae out. Then it'll just look like a new tank. And then I've just got to figure out what type of plant I want to replace in there to take the space of that algae to eat up those nutrients. Because if not, I'm going to end up with the same problem. Then here I've got some more shellies, but at least you can see these because they're not in green water. These guys are less skittish too. These are the ones that were raised up with guppies. So I think since the parents were raised with guppies, they're a little less skittish than the ones that weren't. Now you can see I don't have guppies in there anymore, just because you'd end up with either more guppies or more shellies. It was always a battle between the populations. So you'd either end up stagnant or you'd end up with two more shellies than guppies, which was what happened. I just ended up with a couple pair of guppies left because the shellies would just take them out eventually. It's kind of neat, the little civilization they got going on here. And then this is, what is this? I think this is a Balancea Crypt. So you can see the bullated leaves. This is actually the same plant all the way wrapping around, so that's all the same leaf. Pretty wild, pretty neat plant. And it's just packed there in the corner, but it covers all that. All right, so that's that rack. That's a pretty decent sized rack. And then over here, back to the other side of the Cory tank, got another one of those 5 gallons. This is where I'll eventually flip-flop the rummy nose from the other 5 gallon that's on the other side into there. Musical breed those hopefully one day when I got more time. Here, of course, this tank is kind of wild. Man, the glare is just so terrible. But this tank's kind of wild because it's got red lily, the Tiger Lotus, all over in here. You can see where it's just got the whole thing, the whole top covered. I've got Melanitania parva in here, and this stuff's not even rooted into anything. There's no real substrate. So it's just kind of growing from the water column. This red Tiger Lotus. So it's not planted. Same with this corkscrew valve. You see there's a bunch of corkscrew valve in there. Look how healthy those roots are. But it's just growing naturally like that. And then you got this random Anubius in between kind of holding it up. Then back in the back, our Melanitania parvas that are freaking out, man. What are you guys doing? It's just a light. I'm not gonna eat you. I know it's not food, but I love that color contrast with that green and red right there. And with the light, it gives it that natural kind of red hue going through that leaf. Really neat. And then here we got a mountain of algae. Oh, there we go. Kind of get the glare off of it. Got a mountain of algae on that one, and then a bunch of moss in here, which this is the Java moss as well. Blue neon, Japanese blue neon Endlers. Looks like Ruba Vitatas in there with them, which those Endlers got over here. There used to be Ruba Vitatas in here as well. I sold most of those. Then down here is where that tree has really started. So that angustifolia, this stuff, the Hygrophila angustifolia, started in this tank, went all the way through and back there. Same with the Brazilian Pennywort. This was all alive. If our air wasn't so dry right now, it'd still be alive. But since the air's kind of dry in here right now, it doesn't really have much chance. But you can see where it was going all the way down. Like it's spread out everywhere. Matter of fact, this one over here, the one that came over here, actually ended up going all the way, growing out through that desk there. How crazy. But there's actually discus in here, which people often think discus are sensitive fish. I think the reason why they think they're sensitive fish is the fact that they forget that they're cichlids. And cichlids sometimes can be territorial or have a hierarchy. So they'll behave that way, and they can cause issues within each other. And also the way that we handle them. If they're not handled right, that can have issues on their skin coats, which what'll happen is people see issues within their skin coat, they'll start looking white or whatever. They're trying to fix it. Which I'll use fungus cure or Pennywort or any kind of stress coat reliever if I see that issue with them. But they're really not that sensitive. There's no filter in here, no airline, no nothing. You can see how dirty this is. Look how much stuff has broken down onto the bottom there. There's a bunch of pygmy cories in there. Oh, there's quite a bit of them over here. There's catfish in here. Where are they? Well, there's a Placo. Let's see, what else is in here? There's Tetras in here, Anubius in here. There's an Emperor Tetra. That dude's got to be super old. He's been in there forever. Oh, there's the catfish. You guys remember those mini sharks I had? Those are the mini sharks. They're in there. Oh, there's the black neon Tetras. More Emperors. Silver Tip Tetras. Those silver Tip Tetras actually colony breed within all this. You see all the root materials, all the different plants. Yeah, silver tips, some of them get kind of goofy too because I think they're just way inbred at this point. But lots of coverage for them. Which eventually I'll probably pull out a lot of this Brazilian Pennywort. I may leave the tree and pull out a lot of the Pennywort. I need to get to those catfish and move them out. That's about as wild as it gets right there. I do need to top it off too. Well, there's the discus pair just hanging and chilling. Oh, so sensitive. Goodbye. There's a catfish. Really neat tank. Really neat tank. Even though you guys just really see my glaring feet. Oh, wow. So down here is a 125. So 125, 125, and 240s. This is kind of my throw all, my retirement tank, and the tank for, well, I just don't have space for them. So it's got a little bit of everything in here. There's cardinal tetras, there's lucipennis in here, mascara barbs, rainbows, cory cats, placos. And there's breeding that goes on in here too. I need to clean up all this mess came up from the corkscrew valve. But it doesn't cause any issues. I got Anubius growing up and out. More Anubius, lots of blackbeard algae. But now that I'm getting more plants in here, this all started with just a little bit of corkscrew valve, a little bit of Tiger Lotus. I took it out of one of my 75s that I moved, just chucked it in here, and it's starting to plant itself. So hopefully that'll balance out for the blackbeard algae and everything. Cherry barb right there. Let me get the flashlight. Usually there's a lucipennis hiding. This is one of those tanks, like you keep looking in it, you'll just constantly see something different. Like I just saw some Congo Tetras back there, more lucipennis. There's a Congo Tetra. Absolutely love those. What are those? Those are supposed to be black ruby barbs. Well, of course he's not in the middle now. Well, right there, here's a goofy Placo. gold barbs. We got golden white cloud minnows. There's a betta in here. There's killifish in here. There's snow white Anubius up underneath that red Tiger Lotus. Tons and tons of Congo Tetras. Oh, there's a killifish. In the back corner there. Kind of hard to see through the algae. I didn't have time to clean that algae off for you guys. Boom, but he's there. There's a killie in there. There's another killie over here off the top. Of course, he's right in the glare. Man, it seems like everywhere I look, it's right in the glare. But anyways, up to the top, we've got the Mascara Barb tank and the Hill Trout tank. This is a very notorious tank. These guys love to eat my guppy grass. I'm constantly putting huge, massive amounts of my guppy grass in there just for these guys to eat. So if not, they'll start eating my crypts and other stuff. So I've got the Mole Me and I Crypt in here. I've got Taiwan Lily in there. Used to be a lot of Taiwan Lily in here, but they like to eat on that stuff too. And a huge, massive amount of red metallic Crypt. There's Placos in here. There's cherry barbs in here. There's still a killifish in here. Kicking. Lamontii. Epilotes. Lamontii there. Absolutely beautiful fish. If the light's on it right. I don't know if he's the only one left now. I think he may be. The other ones have kind of met their age. And which I worry about these Mascara Barbs too. They're starting to get to age. As you can see, I've got one here that's not doing too well. I think he's been getting picked on by the hill trouts. He's just been kind of weak lately. You can see his tail's all sore. I'm gonna have to pull him and do something. That just happened within like the last couple days. So we'll see. Everybody else seems fine. The hill trouts, I have noticed that they have been getting a little more aggressive lately. Especially at night when the lights are out, they'll sit there and twirl, spin round and round. You can hear them splashing. I have to break them up time to time because it sounds like it gets a little violent. But these fish do come from the same waters from India, so they do get along well together. And up here, it used to be all beautiful green algae. It kind of looked like an alien terrain. But now that all those nutrients have been getting absorbed by all that algae, it's all starting to die off. Now I do want to get this out and pulled out before all that algae does die in there, because that can start feeding green water and other stuff. Just the death of that organic material as well, which can cause another cycle to go through. So if I pull it, I should have the nutrients balanced a little better. I think the substrate I had in here was just way too rich. It was Brightwell. And I think maybe some other, I think I had laterite and some other things. But I've got the daisy rice fish in here. You can see these were babies. They all grew out in here, but it seems like they're about to make some babies themselves. There's a ton of them in here. Let me get the light. Put the light on, then you can see them, hopefully. Well, there you see more of the glare. They're running. Anyways, then there's actually plants growing up underneath there. I wonder how much, there was dwarf sage in there. I wonder if there'll still be any. Here I've got a terrarium I made from my backyard years ago, probably like 3 years ago. It's still doing pretty good. It's got a dirty front. I need to clean it. Same with this, I gotta clean all that algae out. This is the, shoot, what are these? Oh yeah, the Campoma blue snake Endler. Really cool fish. Let's see if I can get one without having to reach all the way up. But they got these like little dots. Now I have a lot of these, but it seems like most of them are male. So I have a problem with selling pairs of them, just because I have a problem catching the females. And in here is a 2x20 rack about due for a complete rehaul. Tons of crypts down here. I can't remember the name of this crypt. Here's a Starburst blue Endler. 2 colonies of those on each side. Another reason why they're cheap, I've just got a whole bunch of them, so I sell them to you guys for really, really cheap. But love that color on them. Really neat. And this is another crypt I can't remember. That's the reason why I haven't sold it to you guys either. And a bunch of Taiwan Lily on top. And up here I've got my Albino Galaxy Guppies, which these things used to breed prolifically for me. And then they started going more cannibal on each other. So they don't breed as prolific. But I think that's all due to my coverage. With guppies, I try to cover the bottom and the top. Because at night, the babies will sleep on the bottom. And during the day, the babies will be up top. So it's good to have bottom and top coverage for your guppies. But you don't really want it to be algae like this, because that algae can be dangerous for them. They can get stuck in if they're not that smart about it. Then we've got the Tiger Teddies up here. It's another live bear. Let's see if I can get a good shot of them though. Tiny, tiny little like mosquito fish live bear, which a couple of them are looking goofy. I don't know how well that line's doing, but that's why I got this tank emptied out here. I'm gonna eventually try to split them out or source another genetic pool of these Tiger Teddies to be able to deepen out their genes. And here I've got a red metallic Crypt. Or no, this isn't red metallic Crypt. This may be bronze or something else. I can't remember. But this is empty. And then in here, over the last rack in here, these are some custom tanks. I weren't really going to show these until I had them going how I wanted them. These things are absolutely huge. Huge shout out to Custom Aquariums for working with me on this project and making these tanks for me. But this is, I believe, 6 foot by 4 foot, if I remember right. So, I mean, I could lay in there easily 3 of me, or 4 of me, or more. So, essentially, it's like a huge lowboy. But eventually, this will be plumbed into here. So, I'll just have it as one huge system. I'm going to use that to grow babies out in, which I have these special containers and things to use for that project. But in the meanwhile, outdoors, I thought my pond was leaking and I had to bring in everything because I didn't want it to die, end up with no water. I don't know what happened, but it stopped leaking after I pulled all this stuff out. So I've got a ton of corkscrew valve. As you can see here, super healthy too. It was all matted from that pond, and it's all in here now, and it's completely filled this. Then I brought in a bunch of the pond Endler guppies from out there, which I have a lot more females than males for some reason. It tends that they tend to lean towards the Endler blood too. I've got some of the cooler one. Ooh, that one's nice. That's like a blue star with a yellow in it. Let me see if I can get this to focus for you guys. But I'm about to put all this sand in there and get the corkscrew valve planted over on this side. But then I'm gonna have to take care of all this and redo it eventually and get all these guppies out for my other real project. Ooh, that guy's cool. Cool if I could get some focus here. There we go. And where'd that other one go? Here we go. You can kind of see the yellow and the blue. This is the hardest part about edited videos too. Even if this was an edited video, just trying to get that shot on one fish sometimes, it dang near take your whole day. And when you don't have a whole day to do one shot, it becomes a pain. There's a green and red Endler guppy. It's not showing his green well now. Pretty neat. I've seen some of the wildest stuff come from this guppy Endler pond mix. I got some of my favorite ones upstairs. But then this goes way deep, way back. And then up here we got split tail Endlers, Anubius, all in a 5-gallon. Looks like the Brazilian Pennywort has made its way to every tank on this stand. It's now reached over here. Wow, that guy's beautiful. Look at those. Absolutely beautiful. And then here I've got some Melanitania Bowmani. Oh man, they all came out from nowhere. Did you see that? They were all up at the top and then they come swooping down. That was cool. They get this purple in them with this red line. That stem right there is actually a golden Nessie. I'm surprised that's still there. But that Brazilian Pennywort is just taking over. I believe there's a bunch of Taiwan Lily in there as well. I do keep a top on these guys just because I don't want them to jump. But here's the Brazilian Pennywort. This thing's a monster. Look at all those flowers. I got banded pencil fish in here. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see them or not. They're in there somewhere. Also have CPDs in here, but I'm not sure if we're going to see any of them. But there is a baby here. Oh, he ran away. I'm not going to be able to show him now either. But once in a while I'll see babies hanging up here too. With the CPD. So they're actually in here colony breeding. Because it's so thick with stuff. I got Butia philandra growing up underneath there. Look how much light there isn't. So you see that tank from afar, you would never guess. Oh, there's some of the CPDs. You would never guess, wow, she is fat. You would never guess that there's Butia philandras underneath there. Well, hey guys, you guys are being friendly. It's a surprise. Usually they're pretty skittish, but man, she is plump. Wonder if she's eating her babies or something. She looks like it. But in here, a bunch of Anubius. There's Placos in here. There's, oh, blue shrimp in there. Well, there's one of the Placos. More blue shrimp. There's some Tetras in here as well. I don't think we're going to be able to see those. And over here, we got Pilo Moss, Anubius. More plants. There's actually some Synodontis lucipennis in this tank. A net, because I was trying to catch some Tetras out of here. They hide real well in this rock. With the bigger rock, if you make bigger kind of rock substrate, it can be tricky getting some fish out. Oh, there went a Synodontis. They hide so well in there. Oh, there's one of the Tetras. He's in between that net. I don't know. I'm probably not going to be able to show them to you guys. They're super rare Tetra, too. I got them from Dalmatian Aquatics. He sent them to me. I was kind of wanting to show you guys, but I don't think that's going to happen. And over on this side, same situation with all the Brazilian Pennywort running amok. CPDs in here as well, a bunch of Anubius. Kind of same scenario. That's just snail dookie and algae. That looks all weird like that. Then I will get babies off the top of here as well. I'm not seeing any. And in here, more Placos. I'm not very good with remembering numbers, so I can never remember which Placo is which, but I do know they're the rarer ones. And then Anubius in there, sand substrate, they love to kick that up. Like, that's a pretty natural environment for Placo. And in here, these are the actual Indian rice fish. The other ones I was showing in part 1 were the daisy rice fish. So we got subwasser tang and bunch of babies of these guys in here. Like, it's absolutely littered with these guys. They've been colony breeding like crazy. Adults must be acting skittish right now, because usually they're up front and center. Here's a sort of bigger one. I kind of see them back. Get that light on there, right? There's a couple back there. And then here, not really a whole lot in here. I think there's like one female guppy in there somewhere. We're tank just taking over. This has another group of CPDs. Looks like just a bunch of algae and moss from the tank. Actually, in the corner, here's where you'll find them, near the spawning container. So they have all that coverage, but then they have all this open space that you can't really see from the top, or the sides or the bottoms. So it makes them really comfortable for spawning like that. All right, that is that rack. That's the soft water rack that I used to call a soft water rack. That'll probably end up being a CPD breeding machine at some point. May just go all CPD and just breed them out like crazy. Have rainbow grow out space, because with rainbows, having a lot of water volume to grow your rainbow fish up is really important to get that faster, better growth out of them. So having these huge, massive tanks that I can easily do water change through will help with that a lot. And then here I've got a 215 or 220, something like that. It's gonna go over along here. I'm waiting for another tank here that I'm gonna turn into like a paludarium. I'm gonna turn one of these up on its side and put it right there, and then put this next to it, and then I'll have a fry rack. But then this tank is another tank that I got from Custom Aquariums, which this thing's really unique. As you can see, it goes kind of like a tall column. And this will actually end up going to my quarantine rack. Look at this frame, ain't that insane? This thing is beefy. And I prefer rim tanks over rimless tanks. Big reason why: snails will get out of rimless tanks, fish slip and jump out of rimless tanks real easy. Anytime you got a lip or a rim right there to help with that, I'm all about it. But that was actually kind of a different build for them, just because of the height of the water and then the type of the seal. But what will eventually be with that is I'll have it as a regular aquarium, natural, whatever. When I go do my water changes in my quarantine, it'll be more seasoned water instead of just straight fresh water. But that's the garage section. I can't wait to get this finished. That's gonna be a fry rack system. Have 75 gallon there with the containers. Probably plan on doing Endlers, more directive breeding between males and females within that system. But this is the garage section. So I guess that leaves the upstairs section and the outdoor section, which it is dark outside right now, so we obviously can't go check that out, but we can go upstairs here, because there is one tank that I haven't showed you guys. Well, I've shown you guys, but I haven't shown what was in it, I don't believe. That is new to it. Oh, did I? Oh, that's true. I did show you guys when I fish backed them. Oh, there's Wesley. Shoom. But here's the 125 high within our bedroom here. And you see it's half full of water. Big reason why it's half full of water is due to these fish, which this is a rope fish, and these guys are absolutely cool. It's like a water snake, but I don't want them to jump out, so I keep the water level low. And then here we have the Balancea Crypt. Hi, Wesley. And you see more of the rope fish. We see you, Bubby. Then we got Panda Gars in here. Absolutely love the Panda Gars. Got the blue neon rainbows, the Bulbitis, Hudolati. More Panda Gars. Now I do have shrimp in here with the red rope fish. It's kind of a natural diet for them. They have been eating the Tetra tropical granules. And then this foreground plant, I can't remember the name of it. I think that might be the Marcellia as well, the Marcellia minuta. Oh, you can see that shrimp just hanging out right there. That shrimp don't care. Oh, here comes a rope fish too. Really neat tank. And that's a 125-gallon high. Then in here, we've got a mess of a living room because, well, we like to live our lives and not clean up all the time. It's a daycare, right? But here we'll end up getting Wesley another 40-gallon here for Christmas. And then this is Wesley's 40-gallon. It is full of willow moss. It's got Rotalia colorata. I can't remember. I think this is a tiger crypt of some orange tiger crypt. Bacopa Carolina. We got Luigia archeata as well. You see that colorata's like growing up and out of the water. Really neat. Anubius. Coming. Whoa, but we don't have any fish in there right now. We need to. You haven't decided on a. Yeah. Why don't you have fish in there?
I thought I had fish in there.
Well, you don't.
Where did they go, Wesley?
And then here we got discus. We did have turquoise rainbows in there, but we ended up taking them out, and we haven't put anything back in. So I guess Wesley gets to choose some new fish here soon. But in here I've got some rainbows and discus. I think I have alani rainbows in there. The Chilnitherium alani. Tons of Philippine ferns. It just looks like green water, of course, but there's a bunch of plants in there. Once again, Brazilian Pennywort just running amok. Going crazy up here. Look at this. Pearlweed, Brazilian Pennywort.
I hope you showed where it comes through your desk.
I did. There's tons and tons and tons. It's really neat how that grows. It's getting broader leaves in here, it looks like, too. Some of those leaves are getting huge. But down here, we have some leopard danios in here. And we also have the hill stream loaches. Oh, there's one of the leopard danios, platinum leopard danios. Where is the other fish? The hill stream loaches. Oh, there's one. A bunch of the hill stream loaches. And in here, wow, I've actually got some MTS snails gone. There is a ton of tetras. Oh, there they are. Look like there was nothing in there to begin with, but there's a Congo Tetra and then a bunch of these other, I think they're blue diamond tetras. They just come flying out of there. Like light. That's them. And this was my quarantine section, but you know how that goes. Some fish stayed quarantined and it just became their tank. And here I have, looks like one of the rainbow fish jumped from over here. I think those were supposed to be those multisquamatas, the red dragon rainbows, and Dalmatian Guppies. And let's see, what is that? I think that's that red tiger val with some dwarf sedge. It just goes on all the way back. I've got some angelfish with some rainbow fish. There's pygmy chain loaches in here as well. Purple night sword in between there, in the middle. Kind of hard to see because it's so dark. But right there in the middle, this purple night sword. A little bit of algae, dwarf sedge, Philippine fern. But let's see. Where's the other? I only got 2 types of rainbows in here. Or angels, I guess. So I got the black marble angels and the Philippine blue angels. Then in here we got more of the white cross Endlers. There is an angelfish that got over it. Wow! Look at that split tail that came out of this line. What in the world? That is random. Whoa, look how long these white cross endlers. What in the world? They have more elongated split tails. Like they're starting to turn to split tails. Really wild. I never noticed that. What's up, Bubba?
I just joined you live.
You just joined my live? Oh, thank you so much, Wesley.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Don't forget to hit that like button.
Oh, I already did.
Oh, you're the best, bro.
No, there's no thumbs downs.
No thumbs down? That's sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, a bunch of guppy grass in there with some tiger val. Then up here, we've got the Melanitania uchiensis. So I've been trying to get the breed in here. They're gonna hide on back, but a ton of guppy grass as well. Always great cover. Now with this cloudy water here, I think what happened within this tank is the female died. Here we can see the male, which this is a, oh, I can't remember. But anyways, I think the female died in here, and that's what caused, oh, my gimbal's messing up. That's what caused that that bacteria bloom to happen, is when the body decayed in there, the bacteria started eating off of it, and then now we have this nice milky white water, which it has been changed since. This is red and black guppies here. Pretty common line. Dwarf sedge, guppy grass, corkscrew valve. Not a whole lot in here besides some little peacock gobies. See, you can see one right here actually happens to be one up front, so that's cool. And then in here we've got corkscrew valve, another type of plant I don't know. Some babies of this rainbow fish, I can't remember. Cinta something, I can't remember. Oh, no, it's the sicuensis. Melanitania sicuensis. So those are babies of those in here. And then also, if you notice, this is kind of neat. This substrate had some of my Indiana dirt, and it was capped with Eco-Complete, but the shrimp that I had in here have pulled all the dirt from up underneath that Eco-Complete and have put it up top. And the shrimp that did that was a mono shrimp. I'm not seeing one right now, but they have built like these little caves and tunnels. See how they got the little caves within the rocks they built? Who knows, they probably tunneled up underneath it too, the way that they have this dirt. Really wild to see a mono shrimp do that. I've had Neos and Caradinas, both, in a tank with this kind of substrate, but I never once saw any of them try to do what those Amanos did in here. Like, they went gangbusters on this dirt. There was none of this dirt on the top here. Now it's completely full, and it's very natural looking. I kind of like how it looks after they did what they did. And in here, I've got some of those pond guppies. These are the pond guppies I was telling you about, where I've kind of kept the really nice ones up here. Which some of these patterns are hard to focus. Like this one here is nothing but a tiny little dot. So it actually looks kind of like, I believe Monet is the painter I'm thinking of with all the dotted kind of style. Look at the stripes on this guy. They're all so fast. But even some of the females' colors. There's one of these that has like the zigzag yellow and black pattern. Look at this guy. Which I've never seen any of these types of patterns within this hobby of some of these endlers that I have in here, or endlers slash guppies. They would just hold still. But that, look at that purple on that guy. That purple and red. The green and black and red. The green and reds are one of my favorites too. And here I've got the Taiwan Moss, the Bulbidus, Anubius. Really, really neat. There's a mono shrimp in here as well, and some Placos. Oh, there's one of the monos. Back on through there. They help keep this tank clean, as well as the guppies. Absolutely love that tank, mostly due to the guppies in it. Anubius bulbitis, underrated, yeah. I mean, considering these, you guys want low tech, easy to keep plants. What I'm showing you, these are about the low. That's as easy as it really gets when it comes to keeping aquarium plants. And then over here, my Aquascaping 2017 tank. Let me get this thing light kicked over, maybe. There we go. But this thing's kind of gone through all kinds of phases. This is one of the very few tanks that I actually have a filter on. It's barely running. It's been running, hasn't been cleaned since 2017. That's about how much flow's coming out of it right now. But you can see I've got some coral moss, which is that Pellia, type of Pellia, dense Pellia. It's hard, kind of weird for a plant. A lot of people think you need high tech to grow that. You don't. It's grown in no CO2. My CO2 has quit working in a long time. And I have also grown it elsewhere without CO2. But this is an absolute jungle. Philippine fern. I've been picking at it for years and years. See, the dry air is starting to take its toll on the plants that are up at the top. This is another bulbitis. This is a Diformis. This is the harder to grow bulbitis. And I think it's the fact that it needs to be more out of water than in water. Why it's so hard to grow out or in the aquarium hobby. But I'm actually trying to mix albino galaxy guppies with rainbow tiger endlers in here, as you can see there. So we'll see what that looks like. And I know I've got some babies in here that are rainbow tiger endler and albino galaxy guppy mix, because I've got some of the babies that aren't albino. And then I got HC up there. This is mostly made out of lava rock and Malaysian driftwood. Yes, Wesley?
I commented your video.
You did. Thank you, bro. And you see the root coverage and everything in there. It's pretty crazy. I will later, bub. But that should be a cool mix if I get them going. There's actually a Roo 2s in here as well. There's a Pseudomugal Roo 2 rainbow fish with the little orange on the fin there. Then long fin leopard danios. They keep running from the camera though. But I've got a lot of videos on this tank specifically as well, if you guys are interested in what it's looked like throughout the years. It was aquascaped really nicely because the driftwood, I had all kinds of different layers and dimensions. Anytime you're doing an aquascape tank, you always want to try to add depth to it to make it look bigger than the tank actually is. Like that tank looks big, but it's really pretty shallow. I mean, it's not that deep. About 2 hands deep. But all right. So that does it for upstairs. Does it for the garage, which really only leaves the backyard. I guess I'll just do an updated backyard. I mean, I did that not too long ago anyways. Well, we could always probably do it again here later. But yeah, I think I'll take you guys downstairs. That way I could field a couple questions for like maybe the next 10 minutes. If you have any. So that's the fish room. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe learned something. And yeah, I'm at the bottom of the chat, so. Can you turn that down, bub, so I don't get that reverb? Thank you. Since you can hear it live, Wesley. All right, no questions? Could you please talk more about the Panda Garas? The bigger ones are definitely the females. The females get real chubby. The males tend to stay smaller, shorter, and skinnier. They do take years to start getting mature enough to breed out. I don't personally know anybody who's bred them out. But I think, well, that's not, yeah, I don't personally know them, but I have heard people who have had luck breeding them within a colony, just out in like a wild tub somewhere. Which I tried to do with those up there, but then I put those rope fish in there. Do I breed platies? No, I don't breed platies. Was the Crypt in Wesley's tank still the ones I sent you? Yes, they were, Dan, actually. All right, thank you all for joining. I appreciate you. Oh wait, Secret History Living in Your Aquarium says your art just needs to be scanned, but it's ready for you. Ooh, that is exciting. Super exciting. And also, I'm going to stream in 5 minutes and tour all 18 of my tanks. I'm so glad we got to see yours, brother. Well, that sounds awesome. Sounds like Secret History Living in Your Aquarium is about to go do a tour over at his channel. So go check out his tanks as well. Boy, you don't even have a shirt on. Quit jumping in my camera. Thank you. And, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys all have a great week and great holidays. Until next time, everybody. Peace. Have a great one.
Peace.
Peace. Later, everybody. Zoom.
Just tell them I'm coming.